Hi, I'm Dot from Ink Art Designs, and we're back for another Facebook Live today with distress inks, a couple of demos, showing you some fun ways to use them with a bit of water. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with what you can achieve with simple products. But first, I want to explain to you a couple of changes that we have in the shop at the moment. One of them is I made a decision earlier this week. There's stamps that I've got that I've used for demos at shows and in classes. So I've just put them into the shop under the tab of pre-loved stamps, and I've just really dropped the price on them. So if you want to grab a bargain, they're really good. They are stained because I don't tend to clean my stamps all that often. So you just take them as they are. Lavinia stencils may be leaving England tonight, so we should see them in about 7 to 10 days. That's the other thing. When I was looking through the Lavinia stock, there's some in there that are part of their original designs, and I've had them for a little while, so I'll drop the price on those by 10%. So there are some bargains to be had with Lavinia stamps at the moment. Darkroom Door is still on special, heavily reduced. Mind you, there's only about 8 or 9 left, so first in, best dressed with those ones, but they are really nice stamps. They really are what's left. Visible Image, all stamps are between 10 and 15% off at the moment. So where they would normally be either $19 or $21, it's a good $2.50 off each of those stamps. So also a good time to grab a bargain for Visible Image stamps. Just in, a day and a half ago, is the gloss. Oh, you probably can't read that. It's the Dina Wakley Media Gloss Sprays. It's the new colour release. So here are some of them. And they're sort of a pastel-y colour, these ones. So they're all in the shop at the moment. As they're coming in now, I'm checking to make sure that there is a ball bearing in them. Because in my last order, 3 or 4 didn't have ball bearings. So I have put them in the shop on sale, $1.50 off, any that don't have a ball bearing in them. So if you have a partner or a relative or a neighbour who has a workshop that may have a 3 or 4 mil ball bearing that you can have, you can just drop a ball bearing in. It's just used as the mixer. So there are savings to be had on those. Gee, lots of savings in my shop at the moment. That's good. The other new thing that's in, are the last lot of Tim Holtz stencil release. So they're in the shop, and there's some really pretty ones in there. The other thing that's new in also are, and I'll just flip through these. I'll drop them. I'll do the throwaway thing. What? Like that. These are the Crafters Workshop stencils, and they are part of some of their latest ones that they've got out at the moment. All right, they're new in. That's that. And this little baby is the Distress Refresher. And if you've been crafting for some time and you've got all of the distress inks, and they last for years. I had mine probably 5 or 6 years before I had to re-ink them. You can save money. Apparently you just spray 2 or 3 sprays of the refresher on them, and it just brings your ink pads back to life. And I'll be trying that myself this weekend. So that's in there as well. That's all that's new that I can think of at the moment. Oh, no. The Tim Holtz Snarky Big Talk stickers. They've arrived, and the Back Chat stickers from Delusions is also now in stock. And the Dina Wakley washi tape. So, you know, you get 7 or 8 different rolls of tape in one pack. So they're in the shop as well. Have you heard the rumours that are going around at the moment about the new colour for distress inks and paints and the whole range? I don't know what it is, but I have heard a little whisper on the grapevine that there's a date where the new colour is going to be revealed. I've been told, don't hold me to it because it could be wrong, the 26th of August is when the announcement will be made. That is Tim Holtz time in America. So wherever you are in the world, you've got to make allowances for Tim Holtz time. That will either be, here in Australia, it'll either be late at night or probably early, sometime in the morning on the 27th of August. Okay, let's get on to the demo for today. Today, Distress Inks. I have. The first thing I want to show you is, and I don't want to spend a lot of time doing it because it's something that most of you have been doing forever, but it's just to remind you some of the techniques involved in blending your inks. It's pretty simple, and I must discuss the tools that you're using. So the tools are the round mini tool and the rectangle one. And some people are confused which one to use and when. And I think if you're new to crafting, this is the one that you've probably been introduced to. Not my favourite for blending, but favourite for other things, which I'm going to show you also. The rectangle tool is my favourite for blending. I don't know why. I think maybe because that's what I started with. I have tried the round one and it leaves marks, and I think, do I want to relearn? No, I'll just stick to my rectangle one. So I'm going to show you with the rectangle one how we do simple blending. There's one that I've started because I know you don't want to sit there for 10 minutes and watching me do it. An important piece of equipment that you need is some paper towel, because distress ink reacts with water. That's one thing you can never forget. It reacts with water. That is the main thing that it is known for. And on your fingers, as you're turning your piece of card, your fingers has body oils, or it might have sweat, depending on the weather or how hot you've got your heater. So paper towel, and I'll show you, you'll see me using the paper towel. I just use it instead of using my fingers. So I'm going to finish off this card that I've started, and I'm going to show you how I do it. So I think you'd be able to hear me. I don't know how well you can see, but I'm doing pinks and blues because they just look nice. So when you're blending, you have your craft sheet, and it's a circular motion, and it's not like this. It's big circles, and you start on the craft sheet and work your way onto your card like that. Big circles. Always got to think big circles. Don't do. You're going to get nowhere really if you do little ones, and you've got to get the ink onto the card. See how I'm using the paper towel? Big circles. You start off and you go on. The other thing that you need to do is angle your tool about 10 degrees roughly. So it's like a plane just taking off. So you start off and go on. If you have a really inky juice pad, you tap it off onto your craft sheet because you don't want too much ink. Alright, so I am deliberately going in and creating some extra marks that I don't really want there, because I'm going to show you how we're going to fix those up. Alright, so you put your colour on, and I've used worn lipstick and broken china. My broken china isn't all that wet, it's pretty old, but you go back in. If you go blue over the top of pink, you get a lovely, it's almost a lilac shade. So you always start off and move on. And you build up your colour. You're always better to start light. Hang on. You start with a light coverage of ink, then you go back in and put another coverage of ink over the top, and you build your intensity up to what you want. It's easier to do that than to put a heavy amount of ink on your card, because it's near impossible to get it all off. You have to know all your techniques to do that and know how to cover it up. I suppose it can always be used for something else. So start light, put your colours down, then go in heavier on top and build it up. So you go light, dark, always come back in with a light colour on top, and it seems to smooth everything out. So that's all I'm going to do. And they're things that you know, so I'm just reminding you really. And we're going to do water flicking. I've seen people struggle with water flicking, but you just do that. You might want to just go like that. You might want to go like that. The other thing that you can do is put some water onto your craft sheet. Pick it up with a brush, load your brush up and tap, and that will give you a nice little water coverage as well with a few drops. Now, can you see what's happening with the water? I don't know, can you see? Right, back up again. The water pushes the colour of the ink out to the edge of the droplet. So you end up with this darker ridge forming. Ah, look, down here. You can see that darker ridge down here. Right. When that happens, that is when you dry it with your heat gun. So we'll just grab a heat gun. Yeah, I always get it hot first. A bit like a baby's bottle, isn't it? And just dry it. The important thing with a heat gun is you don't have to move it really fast. You just have to move it. And the reason you do that is so you don't burn your cardstock. Okay. Oh, nice. Right, you can see the card is bending like that. So it's sort of curving up. If you want to straighten your card out, you turn it over and hit the other side, and it goes straight again. Okay, just to finish that off. Oh, I'll show you what it looks like now. So that's pretty simple. And I think most of you have done that. So the other thing I'm going to show you, and I don't know, it's one of the things that Tim Holtz told us about right at the very beginning, and I don't know how often it gets mentioned these days, so I will mention it. What you do, you need wild honey. Oh, it's backwards for you. It's wild honey distress ink. And you put a little bit on your blending tool, dab it off, and I'll do it in just one section, and you just go over the top. Right, so what it does, I'll put too much down there and cover it with my fingers. It catches on that skimmed darker ridge of your droplet and makes the whole drop pop. So if you want to add that little spectacular part to your spattering, that's all you do. There are two colours that he mentioned that you could use. One was wild honey Oh, it might be mustard seed actually, not sure. It was yellow. The other one was broken china, which is a pale blue. So those are the two colours, and you go over your card. You're not actually trying to add colour to your background. What you're trying to do is just catch it on that rim of colour. Does that make sense? Yes? Is anyone saying yes, that makes sense? Okay. The other way to add water is, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to do something else. Sorry. I cleaned a stamping block today because you can actually see through it. Hello. Not the normal state of my stamping blocks. What we're going to do is, I'll go back down. This is smooching. So it's just twisting the colour onto your craft sheet. And then you go in and lightly bead up the water. Oh. What I like to do is I grab the corners of the card, the opposite two corners, not these two. I go for the opposite corners. A slight curve. Just a slight curve, so it's just a push with your fingers. I don't know if you can see. And then like that. And you end up with the marks starting to appear. Then you go in and dry. You'll see all these droplets on the craft sheet from where I've disturbed all the ink. They're really good for picking up extra dots. So you just pick them up like that and dry. And I like to dab it occasionally with paper towel. I just think you get some really interesting effects. Have a play. Well, and then you can just go in. I might want some more droplets up in that area. That looks pretty. Oh, I like that. I do like that. And that's what you end up with. So it's holding it in where your fingers are on the card. Sorry. Where your fingers are on the card, no ink will go. So where you want your white spaces to be, that's where you put your fingers. Right? That's the reason why you hold it that way. And I like the idea of diagonals on a page. If you've got wet droplets, you don't necessarily have to use the heat tool. You can just let them sit there for, I don't know, probably 20 seconds. And then dab them with the paper towel. And you'll get some really pretty droplets of colour. So this is what it's looking like so far. Can you see? I hope that's not blurry. Okay. You can do this. I've just used one colour, but you can go in with 2 or 3 colours, but make sure they're close to each other in their tones. You don't want to be doing colours opposite on the colour wheel, because when you add the water and they mix, they just go brown. Unless you want a brown card, that's all right. But then why not just use a brown ink if that's what you want? So just colours like blues and pinks, if they mix together, you know you're going to get like a purpley shade. If you use yellow and blues, you know you're going to get a green shade come through. So think about that side of it. So we're just going to work with one colour. And then we're going to use a stencil. And I'm just using this one, what's it called? Shatter. And I'm going to do tone on tone stenciling. Now this is where the round mini blending tool comes into its own, because it will get into all these nooks and crannies. and you'll get a lovely stenciled shape that comes out. I find that the rectangle blending brush doesn't have as complete coverage with the Distress ink. So we've used Broken China, so I'm going to go in with Broken China. That's why we call it tone on tone stenciling. And I'll go back down here. And I'm just going to add, so where the blue areas are, I'm going to add a bit of stenciling just into those areas. Like that. And you could go in with oxides if you wanted to. I just don't see that it's all that necessary, but you can sort of push it into the shapes. Like that. Let me just have a look. Ooh, you're going to like this. I like this. Take it down there. I'm not blending the ink, so I'm not worried about circular motions in case anyone's wondering. Look at that. Can you see that lovely highlight there? So I'm going to do the same thing and just put some up there, the other end of the blue area. Like I said, my ink is not as wet as a brand new one. Oh, look at that. I'll show you what this looks like. Look at this. How's that for an interesting background all of a sudden? So that's called tone on tone. So far, we've done water flicking, and you can use your fingers, you can clap the water, it's just getting droplets down there, or you can use a brush. And we've done the smooching on the craft sheet with our fingers to keep the white areas. And now, for one last one, we're going to use the stamping block. What colour will I do? I'm going to do brown and green, I think. So I have another piece of card. See how prepared I am today? Now I'm going to use two colours. So if you're going, and I'm going to put them onto the stamping block. When you do that, because you don't want your colours mixing from one ink pad to another, you start off with your light colours and then you put on your darker colour. So to me, I'm using Bundled Sage and Gathered Twigs. So I'm going to put the Bundled Sage on first, just around the edge like this, in a couple of places. I don't know how well that shows up. Oh, no, you won't be able to see it. And then in the other areas, I'm going to add Gathered Twigs. And I'm just doing it in random sections, so there's no planning involved with where exactly you have to put your colours, just randomly. The only thing that you have to think about is not mixing the colours. So I'm not asking you to not think, but the actual process is random. And then bead up the ink with a bit of water. So that's what can you see? There you go, you can see that. Sometimes the ink will go into the centre and the water, so we'll just, hang on, go back down here. So what I'm going to do is just wipe out the centre, clean it up a little bit. There wasn't much in there. I hope this works. Just clean it off. And then, can you see? Can you see it moving? Ooh, ooh, very nice. Very, very nice. I can't hold it up to show you, but with the water sprayed onto the ink, there's enough on there that it's spread it around. I don't want it spread everywhere. This is the hard part, lifting the acrylic block off. It's like ripping off a band-aid. You do it quickly. And there we have a nice interesting background with just those two colours. That's really pretty, I like that. Might dry that one. Right, so that's what it looks like. You see that? With browns, I think pinks and browns go nice together, blues and browns, greens and browns, yellow and browns, oranges and browns. There's a lot of colours that you can put with brown. So today we have, I've lost one. Where did I put it? I'm sorry, it was upside down. The good old-fashioned droplets. The smooching on the craft sheet and a bit of tone-on-tone stenciling and stamping with an acrylic block. Did you enjoy that? That was really 3 quick and easy ways that you can use water with your distress inks, and you can see 3 totally different things. Okay, I have a spare cutout image. It's an Art by Marlene one. I reckon he would look nice. Let me see, where would he look nice? He would look nice on a tone-on-tone. I probably need a bigger piece of card for that one. Oh, he doesn't look too bad on that background. It's a nice watery background. Just stamp a bit of seaweed and a few fish in the background. A bit of tone-on-tone stamping. That would be nice. I don't know how he'd go on here. Oh, not so good. I don't think the colours are right on that, but you get the idea. So I have a sample of one that I did probably a couple of years ago now, and that's you can see the tone-on-tone with the stencils in the background. And this is one that I did with the that last one I showed you with the acrylic block, and I just made a nice background. I used pinks and oranges in that one, and you just do some stamped images and cut them out and stick on top, and that's a really nice easy card to make. So it doesn't have to be difficult, it really doesn't. Does anyone have any questions that they want to ask me? Anyone got any questions? Is there anything I haven't explained clearly? No? For the next 4 days, at the beginning, I explained to you all these specials that I've got going in the shop at the moment. But because we've done a Distress ink demo today with water, all the Distress inks have $1 off. So you will save money. There's only 13 colours in there. Excuse me. There's only 13 colours in the shop, but all of them are reduced, and that's about 10%. So they're down to $9.50 for one Distress ink. So that sale will finish. That's just a Facebook Live special. So it will go for 4 days, and it will finish late in the evening. We'll say midnight on Sunday, but I'll probably take it off special when I wake up on Monday morning. Are you excited about the gloss sprays? Are you excited about the new colour that might be announced soon for Tim Holtz? I am. Until next time, I hope you have a really crafty time and have fun with your products, and just play and have fun. Don't be hard on yourself. Be kind. Okay. See you later.